called me to Thiruvannamalai. And we met in the ashram, we met in Ramnath. As I was leaving for Bangalore, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And as I was saying goodbye to him, he looked at me with a beautiful smile, and then he said, in the later part of your life, you will experience miracles. And he said it in a very unobtrusive way, in a way that I could have easily forgotten it and not understood its importance. And it took me about 10 years to understand the import of what he had said, because I started experiencing certain events 3 years ago. So please put your minds back to 2014, sometime around September. He had called us and he said he's going to come and stay in our house for 2 weeks, and he would like us to be with him. So of course my wife and we were overjoyed. You don't often get your room in your house to stay for a period of 2 weeks. So we enjoyed every minute of it. We were looking forward to it. He did come with a contingent of various brahmacharis, and it was one of the most wonderful periods that we have ever spent with him. Every morning he would insist on doing a Karpura Homa, where he burnt camphor on his palm. And he would make me come there at 6 o'clock every morning. And for a period of 14 days, he did that home every day without fail. And he would insist that I would sit in front of him. I did not understand the significance of what he was doing, but since he said I had to be there, I made sure that I was there every single day. We left for Australia soon after. We had a wonderful visit there, and we came back. And in November of that year, a few months after this event, I was supposed to go to Calcutta the next day, and I started having severe pain in my chest and on the left shoulder. It was terrible pain, it was unbearable pain. I bore it for a day and a night, and then I bore it again the second day, and the second night I just couldn't lie down, I couldn't be on my right side, I couldn't be on my left side, so I doubled up with 2 hands and on 2 knees, bent on the bed. I began weeping because the pain became so severe. And the next day we were leaving from Calcutta, so I didn't know what to do. I called the security person who is very close to me in my institute. He's a devotee of Swami. I took off my clothes, I gave him some oil, and I said, massage my back, I probably have some muscular pain. He did a wonderful job of it, but there was no relief. The pain continued. I called Swamiji at about 4:35 in the morning, and I told him I'm in terrible pain. And before I could open my mouth, he said, are you in pain? I said, yes. He said, do you want me to come there? I can come there right now if you like. Reminded me of Shri Baba's words that I don't need an aeroplane, I don't need a bullock cart, I don't need means of transport to come to my devotees. I said, no, don't do that. But please lessen the pain. He said it will go in 2 days, you bear with that. I said, should I go to Calcutta? I was supposed to give a lecture in it was a distinguished series lecture. I had to be there. He said, you go there, I will be with you, and you will do it. I need to tell you that I have no recollection of the lecture. I gave it, but I have no idea what I did. Apparently it went off very well. I came back, and my condition worsened. It became worse. I didn't know what to do. No doctor could diagnose it. I didn't even think it important to go to a doctor. For some reason, the thought didn't strike me. In the month of March, Swamiji gave me, as usual, a surprise. He said, we're going to London, you better come with me. I said, all right, so I packed my bags, and I was here for 2 months. Those of you who must have seen me at that time, you would have seen me as being very ill, but I did not betray to any one of you how ill I really was. I could not walk, and I had a terrible whooping cough. When I used to come to functions like this, I would go behind and just go flat and lie down because of the pain. This went on for a period of 4 months, from December right up to almost end of April, till my entire visit to London came to an end. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that I was deteriorating. One morning when Swami was having his dinner, which is normally at about 4:30 in the morning, I asked him, I caught his feet, and I said, I started having tears in my eyes. I said, have I had a heart attack? And have you saved me from that? He became very coy and he said, oh no, the money, there's nothing like that, you don't have to worry. And then I realized that he was hiding something from me. So I told him, it just came out of my mouth, I told him in Tamil, இந்த விஷயத்துல நான் உங்க மேல எனக்கு நம்பிக்கை இல்லை. I will not believe you what you are saying, and you should tell me the truth. He said, no, there's nothing wrong with you, and you don't worry about that, and so on. I want to tell you two more things that happened. I was in such pain that one evening I went to him and I said, would you mind if I don't come for the public function today? I just need to sleep. He was very, very kind, very sweet. He said, don't come. And that night, actually, I did have my first sleep in London. It was that bad. 3 days later, I tried to ask him again. He said yes, but I could see that he wasn't very happy. So I went, I had a bath, I put on my white clothes, and suddenly he entered the bedroom. He normally knocks on the roof, but that day he just entered. And he saw me dressed. He said, are you coming with me? I said, yes, I am. And for some reason he was very happy, and he came and hugged me tightly from behind. And he said, your father told me, do you know who your father is? So I said, no. He said, your father is Lord Murugan of Trichandur. He told me, Ramnath Narayana Swami, and that is why I entered your life. I came into your life for that purpose. I didn't know what to say, I was deeply overcome. 3 days later, he was lying down in a relaxed way. When I came downstairs and saw him, I touched his feet and he asked me, what will you give me? I was not sure I had heard the question right, so I kept quiet, and then he looked at me, he was a little stern. He said, did you not hear me? What will you give me? So again I had tears in my eyes. I said, Swamiji, I had answered this question. The very first day I met you, I told you that I am happy to give you my life, and I have no difficulty with that. He was very happy. He said, yes, I knew that you would tell me that. And that was the end of it. Now I want you to fast forward the story. I had my heart attack in the month of December, in the first week. I didn't have medicines for 4 months. I didn't even know that I had an attack. And I suffered during that period. And when we were on the flight, when we were coming back, Swami asked me, go and take a health checkup. So he left for Palakkad. I came to Bangalore. We have a hospital in front of my school. I went there, and the doctor told me you had a heart attack in December. And you need to take some tests, you need to do this. I'm a pretty fearless person by nature. And that was the first time I felt deeply, deeply vulnerable. I wasn't sure I had left enough resources for my family to survive and so on. And half an hour I experienced a lot of turbulence. I told my wife, take me to the end of the corridor, and I called Swami. The previous day, a childhood friend of mine, his name is Dr. Ravi Nayak. He's the ENT head of one of the major hospitals in Bangalore. He told me, you need to go and take an ECG. If you're not doing that, I'm going to come and force you to do that. I feel very guilty that I didn't ask you to do that 4 months ago. So I said, no, I will go. As soon as Swami came on the line, his first sentence to me was, it was I who sent Ravi Nayak to you last night. I got a shock. He always gives me these shocks. And fortunately, all of them are pleasant. And I said, yes, Swami, I knew that. I broke down, I started crying. And then he said, do you know how many blocks you had in your heart? I said, no, I have no idea. He said, you had 9 blocks in your heart. And do you remember the time I stayed with you before we went to Australia? I said, yes. He said, I burned 8 of them. I removed 8 of them. And then I understood the significance of the Kapura Homa that he had done in my house for 2 weeks. I was deeply overcome. He said, there's one more block in your heart, and that will go through medication. And he said, Kapala Parade, don't worry, I'm there with you, and nothing will happen to you. Shiva is not ready to receive you as yet. And I came back, and I went through a terrible period for 2 months because there were a lot of tests and a lot of this, a lot of that. And suddenly Swami came to Bangalore unannounced in the month of May. Today I know that he came just for us. He just came to see us. That's the kind of love that he has for his devotees. I cannot repay that love. There is nothing I can do to repay that. Even if I give my life for him, it is very small compensation for what he has done to us as a family, to me, to my wife, to my children. It is difficult to put in words, and it is difficult to express this gratitude. I don't really care whether you believe me or not. I don't mind, and I don't really care. But it's important that I tell you what I witnessed, because the spiritual journey is all about experience. If somebody comes and tells you sugar is a very sweet thing, you must go and taste it, it is still an abstraction. You must taste the sugar to experience the sweetness. And we have tasted the sugar with our Guru. In the month of May, he came home. Whenever Swami comes to our house, I have about 300, 400 people who come and visit him, and we feed all of them. But that day, that was the only day in my house where I didn't have the energy to receive people, because I was kaput. My wife didn't have that energy, so I told her, don't make anything. We just have three, four close devotees. We were about half a dozen of us. Swami entered the house, went into the divan, he lay down there and went into a bhava. And then he told me with his eyes closed, he said, do you remember the time in London? Do you remember when I came and hugged you from behind? Do you remember what I told you? It was amazing. His voice was gruff, as it is usually in Bhava. It was a Tuesday. And then he told me, I have literally given you my life. I didn't know what he said, but I knew from the months after that I was starting to get a new body. I was starting to get my energy back. For 2 years it was on a low. And then he said in Bhava, as he said, your diabetes started at 54 because you were taking alcohol and it was getting transformed into sugar in your bloodstream. And you were supposed to go at the age of 58 like your father through a heart attack, but I extended your life. And it just took about 8 minutes, but my friends who were there, who are fellow devotees of Swamiji, they were just completely shocked. Because they were seeing some part of what a guru's play is, and what a guru can do to transform the devotee. The next incident I want to say, and I'm going to just take 2 minutes, it concerned my wife. She was coming back from Calicut, and it was the Ghat section. And the car went into a tailspin. And before they knew it, a car had come from behind, and they were about half a foot from the precipice. Half a foot, if they had gone 6 inches, they would have gone 2,000 feet down, and it would have been certain death. Nobody knows to this day why that car came in front. The entire line of vehicles stopped. And for a moment they didn't know what to do. After 10 minutes, it dispersed. Everybody was in a state of shock. They were reaching Bangalore the next morning, and at that time there was a call from Swamiji. There were 3 other people in the car. And he told her, Ablama, Nadan Kapatine, Naanga, Yeppon Kapatine. I will always save you. You know, my wife, of course, she had tears in her eyes, and she went through at that time, again, around the same time. I won't go into the details. But each time, the love, the understanding, the compassion that we had for him, we can never forget that. We can never pay it back. There's no way I can pay it back. So, I wanted to share this with you to tell you that you learn a lot of things from the Guru. The first lesson I learned was you must take the Guru's words very seriously. 10 years ago, when he told me that there will be miracles in your life, it's not that I did not believe him. I love him too much not to believe him. But the importance of that did not strike me. And 2 months ago, I went to the doctor, I went to the hospital, I said, let me take an echo. And my heart is now normal. 3 days ago, I went just before coming to London, because I had contracted diabetes 2 years ago. Again, I was not aware of it. And the doctor said, I told Swami, I said, you've got to take this out of my system. He said, I will. He told me this three years ago. He said, wait for some time. You need to take the medicine. And 3 days ago, the doctor told me, stop insulin completely. And I'm now just on tablets. I came from Bangalore just to tell you this story. There was no other purpose. As I said, it doesn't matter to me whether people believe me or not. It just really doesn't matter. What matters is that you should bask in the love of your Guru. The beautiful Sufi poet Rumi was once asked, he said, what is love? And he said, be lost in me. And I think that's what the Guru does. We come to him in sorrow. And he takes away the sorrow by helping us engage it. You need to face life. As Swami beautifully says, in every rose there are thorns. And life is like that. You need to see joy and sorrow and treat that with equanimity. And that's what the Guru does. And by doing so, he brings us to the foot of the mountain. But the mountain you have to climb on your own. But he will do everything to bring you there. And once you are there, and once you follow his advice, all that we need to do is follow his words. Nothing else. If we have faith, if we have devotion, and if we have surrender, there is nothing more that needs to be done in this world. That day in my house, when he was in Baba, he said, bhakti ona kapatirka. It is your faith that has saved you. And only now I understand these words. I can't tell you the pain that I had. Some of our devotees didn't understand that. They said, why is Professor sitting like that? Why is he lying down? Because I couldn't sit. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk. And I used to have a whooping cough because my heart had expanded by half a centimeter. And the doctor here in London told me, I'm not sure whether this is related to your ailment, but your heart has expanded. 2 days after my test, when I started taking the medicines, my pain went in 24 hours. It was gone. And then I started a process of meditation. And now today I'm getting my energy back. I'm literally having a new body. I shouldn't be alive here. I shouldn't be alive to tell you this tale. But thanks to his grace, I'm able to do that. And when he called me a couple of weeks ago and he said, you must come to London, I said, Swami, I'm definitely coming. Whatever happens, I'll be there. Because I wanted to tell you this story. Thank you very much.